Good morning, students. Today we'll discuss a new chapter which is called the elements of geometry. The elements of geometry. So first, what is geometry? We'll see it. Geometry came from two Greek letters, geo, metrian. So here, meaning of geo is called earth. So land, metri means measurement. So measurements of lands which are present on the earth is said to be called geometry. So to explain this, if you take any plots, so already your house will be there, it should be constructed in a place here. So all the places, maybe they will be in the shape of a triangles, squares, or rectangles. The plots will be some triangles, okay, and next some trapeziums. So your plots may be of any shape, any shape. So what geometry done is, whatever the shape is there, some will be like a circular shape, okay, and next some will be like pentagons. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it is a pentagon, hexagon, hectagon, nonagon, decagon. So whatever the shape is there, a plot is any shape. So what you have to do? You have to measure its area. You have to measure its area. How can you measure? So here we have some formulae to measure the area of a circle. You have pi r square formula. By using that you can measure the area of a square. Okay. Now if it is a triangle, triangle will have half into base into height. So with this also we can measure area of triangle, area of a square, side into side, area of a rectangle, length into breadth. Now okay, these entire we got it. Now what you have to do for measuring like this? Like this means again what you have to do, it is a triangle. This is a triangle. Area of triangle I have to find. Now it is a area of what? Trapezium. How to measure area of trapezium means again draw perpendicular like this. Draw again perpendicular. So divide into three different structures. Area of 1 plus, area of 2 plus, area of 3. 1 and 3 are again triangles. Now to find area of these two triangles and area of rectangle. These three if you add, area of trapezium will come. Again area of trapezium plus area of triangle. Like that, whatever be the shape, we can find out its area by basing on area of circle, area of square, area of rectangle, area of triangle, like that. By taking sum, so we can calculate any side's area. So it is about geometry. So here, father of geometry, if you want to say, the credit goes to Euclid. The mathematician is called Euclid. So here, he done maximum research on mathematics and he wrote 13 books which are called Elements of Mathematics. Okay. So here 13 books he wrote on geometry and his period of when he wrote is 325 to 265 BC. BC means before Christ. So here like numbers only 0, 1, 2, 3 like this, and here -1, -2, -3 like this. How integers will be there before Christ and after Christ. So here AD means after death of Christ, numbers will be increasing, and again here numbers will be decreases here. Means first here 265, then you are getting 325. 325 to 265 BC, Euclid's period is that one, and he proposed so many things which at that time which we don't know. He prepared everything, and so that he is said to be called as what? Father of geometry. Father of geometry. So here, what he explained here means he explained basic things which we should understand perfectly. So what are the basic things? So what is meant by plane? What is meant by surface? What is meant by point? What is meant by line segment? What is meant by line? So these entire at that time before Christ. So imagine we got these entire sophisticated things we got just before 50 years or something, but here thousands years back. So how the science is there, how mathematics is there at that time, how it will be. Imagine at that time only he invented about these entire. Okay, what he done is he said what is meant by point. So here point means you will keep a dot here. So here it is having any dimensions. Dimensions means here see if you take a rectangle, so it is having length and it is having breadth. So length and breadth are called its dimensions. So here it is two-dimensional figure. So any figure if you draw on a blackboard or a surface, it becomes a two-dimensional figure. Three-dimensional, 3D figures. So here already you saw some 3D pictures, maybe in cinema theaters or in schools also. 3D means they have to wear some spectacles. At the time, if any snake is coming, so you will imagine the depth also. You will feel that it is coming very nearer to you. Or 3D TVs came already. The 3D TVs means figures or pictures will come out of the TV. You will think like that. It won't come, but you will think like that. 3D photos, 3D pictures. So here 3D means not only length and breadth, and also you will feel some sort of height. Means like this. This why I drawn on like this means I can't draw 3D figure on board. So in 8th class representing 3D figures on 2D. We done here like this. What is this? It is cube. So here in this I can say this is length, it is breadth, it is height. Okay, but it is you are representing 3D figure on 2D. So what I said, if you draw any figure, it is two-dimensional I said. But what I am doing is I am representing three-dimensional figure in 2D. So this line actually it should be how my sketch pen is there like that. It has to come like this. But I can't draw a line in air. So to draw like this, I draw here like this. So it is x-axis, it is y-axis. Imagine it is a z-axis. So length, breadth, height, three are there, and then it is said to be called three-dimensional. So here, now come to point. Point. What is point means? Point is having no directions. Length it won't be, breadth it won't be, height it won't be. So say any point, say anything which has no dimensions. Means what you have to say? Point. Now line means line or line segment. Okay. Line means it is having only length. Breadth it won't be. So here point. See line means on this line infinite points will be there. So you have only direction as length. That's it. You have only one direction here. Okay. So breadthless length is said to be called line. Breadthless length is said to be called line. Now rectangle and cuboid, cube. This cube, cuboid are three-dimensional figures, and rectangle, square, circle, these all are called two-dimensional figures. So points, lines, line segments. What is line segment means? Line segment is having infinite points. Again, on line segment also you have infinite points. From here to here also so many infinite points are there. But it can't be extended either sides. Okay, it is said to be called line segment. Here you can extend on either sides. It is said to be called line. Line segment, point, surface. Surface means here this blackboard is a surface here. Okay, surface and plane. Surface and plane. So plane, see here, I drawn here one parallelogram here. This is a plane, or this is a plane, means in this, if I keep a point, some points are there in this plane. I can say about plane. So surface means again same thing. If you take a textbook, on top it is said to be called surface, and surface occupies some sort of area. Okay. Now Euclid listed 23 definitions here in his book, which is said to be called Euclid Elements of the Elements. The name of the book is The Elements. So in that first one, a point is that which has no part. So how Euclid defined a point? Point has no part. See here, if I took from here to here, I can make this line segment into some parts. Some parts I can do it. So if you take a point, point can't be take any part. Point has no parts. You can't divide a point. So it is a typical point. So according to Euclid, what is meant by a line? A line is breadthless length. A line is breadthless length. The ends of line are points. So here actually at that time he said, but we won't see that one. The ends of line are points. Line won't have any ends. In his imagination, line segment. For line segment, here and here, what will be there? Points will be there. So the ends of the line are points. A straight line is a line which lies evenly with the points on itself. So straight line and curved line. So it is also called line, but it is curved line. Straight line, evenly it has points on itself. What is meant by surface? A surface that which has length and breadth only. Surface will have length and breadth. The edges of surface are lines. So here, if you take a cube or cuboid or something, it will have edges or not. So the edges. So if it is length, this is a surface. It has 4 edges. So each edge is called a line. According to him, he said, but it's not a line, line segment. So what is a plane surface? A plane surface is a surface which lies evenly with the straight lines on itself. So these are some definitions. Like this, 23 definitions given by Euclid. And now we should know what is the actual meaning of axioms and postulates. Axioms and postulates. These are very important. Axioms. So axioms are self-evident. Self-evident means no one will ask any proof. So example, sun rises in the east. So is there any proof for sun rises in the east only? means it is you have to believe that one, that's it. It won't have any proof. Sun rises in the east. It is one proof. It is self-evident. It itself it is a self-evident. It doesn't require any proof. So axioms or statements which are self-evident are assumed to be true within context of a particular mathematical system. For example, when we say the whole is always greater than the part. So here whole is always greater than the part. So for your birthday you purchased a cake. You purchased a cake here. This is a whole. And what you done is you made one piece. You cut from this one. This piece you kept here. So it is part of this one only. So it is total cake. When you brought this one, it is a total cake, whole cake. It is whole, and it is a part of this cake. Part of this cake. Now he is comparing these two. These two. From where you got this part? From this whole only or not? So whole is always greater than the part. So from this whole he cut one piece and he kept sidewards, and he is comparing this part with which whole. Whole means before cutting that piece, how he brought, that is called whole. Whole is always greater than the part. What is this? It is self-evident truth. So no one will ask that how can you say this is greater than its part? No one will ask. Okay. If you take a cloth and in that cloth some portion you teared it, and same before tearing the cloth, after tearing that piece, if you compare which is greater, so already you can know, you can say directly that before one whole is always greater. Okay, it doesn't require any sort of proof. Example, this axiom gives us the definition of greater than. For example, if a quantity, okay, that is not necessary. So some axioms, Euclid's axioms are very important. Euclid's axioms are very important. How many axioms are there here? 6 axioms are there. So these 6 axioms doesn't require any proof, but they are self-evident. What he said? Things which are equal to the same things are equal to one another. Things which are equal to the same things are equal to one another. So here, see, for your understanding, just I am saying one example. Gold. Gold Latin name is aurum, AU. So here, gold, wherever is there, see here, things which are equal to the same things are equal to one another. So gold ornaments, if you take ring and if you take necklace, both are made of what? Gold only. So if you take some part, one atom of this one atom of this one, these two will be equal only or not? 1 gram of gold you took from ring, 1 gram of gold you took from necklace. Things which are equal to one another. So gold ring, gold necklace. Things which are equal to one another. Okay. Equal to the same things are equal to one another. Things which are equal to the same things are equal to one another. So like this, you can say first one, if equals are added to equals, the wholes are equal. If equals are added to equals, the wholes are equal. So its meaning, I am taking x is equal to y. Equals, both are equal only. I am adding this side and that side with 2 here. If x is equal to y, 2 and 2. X plus 2 is equal to becomes what? Y plus 2. If equals are added to equals, 2 and 2 equals are added to equals, the wholes are equal. X plus 2 is equal to Y plus 2 will be equal. Next one, the equals are subtracted from equals, the remainders are also equal. Same thing, x is equal to y, x minus 2 is equal to y minus 2. The remains also will be equal. Here addition rule, here subtraction rule. Next one, things which coincide with one another are equal to one another. Things which coincide with one another are equal to one another. See here, example, right angle, take it. Again, one more right angle, take it. It is right angle, it is right angle. If you bring this one to here, so it coincides this side to this side, this side to this side. Then angles will be equal only or not? Which coincides. Okay. So, like we can say, next, things which are double of the same things are equal to one another. So here, x is equal to y is there. You are multiplying, double means 2y, 2x. 2x is equals to 2y. Then also it will be equal. If things are equal, if you double, then the formed one also will be equal. Things which are halves of the same things are equal to one another. X is equal to y if you are taking, both sides you are taking half and half. Half of x is equals to half of y. Then also it is same. So here, up to axioms you should be prepared, and what he will ask is write all Euclid's axioms. He will give us one essay question, so you have to by heart it. 6 axioms are very very important, so you have to write Euclid's axioms. This question they won't give an exercise, but they will give an exams. Euclid's axioms are very very important. They are using in constructions in by civil engineers, in mechanical engineering. All engineers they will use this one. So we'll see in the next class.